Muslims, they're divine, and those Jews, they're divine, and these Hindus, they're divine. He says the words, Hindu, Muslim, Christian, they're just words that humanity has invented to keep each other apart. There is one divinity and we all share it. The 11th of June, 1988, in Nairobi, just beside her, stood this figure of Maitreya, dressed in a long white robe with a white headdress with a blue band round the headdress. And he spoke to the crowds, and they all said, ah, ah. They thought he was the Christ. They immediately saw him as the Christ or Jesus, because they're Christians, you know, so they would think Christ Jesus. So, Jesus, Jesus, Christo, Christo, help me, save me. They were all there for healing. Maitreya gives healing through that woman, Mary Akatsa. There's a man called Job Mutungi, who was the editor of the Kenya Times, and he wrote it up. Did the Christ come to Nairobi this day? We got in touch with him, and he came over here and interviewed me for the story and so on, and he described it. He said it was quite extraordinary. He said the Saturday before, the week before, he was in the town, centre of the town, and he saw a star going round and round, like it wasn't an aeroplane, it was a star. And it was silently going round and round the town. He said it reminded me of the Star of Bethlehem, you know, that the wise men followed into the town. But he didn't know anything about it. He just saw it. He said, oh my, this must be a portent. This must mean something very big is going to happen. But he didn't know what, and nothing happened except that, which was big enough. The week later, Mary Akatsa said, a great being is coming, and just suddenly, miraculously, out of nowhere, came Maitreya. He spoke to the crowd in perfect, unaccented Swahili for maybe 15, 20 minutes, something like that. And he told Mary Akatsa at one point to put her hand in his pocket. And she said in the pocket were 4 crosses made of gold, big crosses like that. And she pulled one out, and we have a photograph of her holding the cross up like that. Big cross, about 14, 15 inches high, like that, made of gold. And then he healed about 40 or 50 people standing in the area where he was. Then he said, now I have to go, but I will be back with, they said, a bucket full of blessings. But my master said, he didn't say a bucket, but they translated it as bucket. He said, a vessel. I will be back with a vessel full of blessings. And he said, I have to go. And somebody there, one of the group there, said, well, I have a car. Can I take you to the station? So he got in the car, but he only went about 100 yards. And they said, I have to get out here. So he got out of the car and walked away. And he took a few steps and just disappeared, literally disappeared again. That was all over the world. CNN, BBC, Japanese television, it just covered the world for 2 days. But, you know, it wasn't football, it was the Christ, it wasn't too important, and so it just disappeared. It just became nothing.
Danger ahead. We are ruled by covert means. By the Illuminati.
A new world order.
These institutions. The Bilderberg Group. The Trilateral Commission. The Council on Foreign Relations. And secret societies. Like Skull and Bones. They control the corporations and the governments around the world. The Illuminati are not after money. It's power they seek, and the sport is international politics. The tools are war. Money mechanics, namely the debt-based fractional reserve system. fear. The media, including the music industry, news media, and mainstream press. This plot is so vast in scale, most people will refuse its existence. It is the magnitude of this conspiracy that makes it simultaneously the easiest one to spot, but the most difficult to believe. Once you choose to look, the more you will find. This is a very disturbing and unsettling process, as you will be challenging a lifetime of belief and dogma. One of the things we can all fight and do something about is Agenda 21, or as it was renamed, Sustainable Development. Agenda 21 is a non-binding, voluntarily implemented action plan of the United Nations with regard to sustainable development. This is hard to believe, so do your own research. 1. Population reduction, soft kill technology, and food and medicine. EMF, electromagnetic fields, smart meters, mobile phones and masts, dirty electricity, hydraulic fracturing or fracking. Fracking is so important because it will poison our drinking water, it will poison our air, it will poison our land. The agenda is to reduce the population and keep the remaining inhabitants of Earth in small prison, like cities. And we will go willingly to escape the devastated countryside. The Codex Alimentarius Commission is an intergovernmental body to implement the Joint Food Standards Program, which was established by a Food and Agriculture Organization in 1961. They have made natural herbal remedies illegal, and only GM alternatives are allowed. Pesticides, Monsanto and the decline of the bees. Corporations are starting the process of patenting the world's gene pool. They will end up owning nature. Herbicide-ready crops that resist weed killer and have built-in pesticides. What effect does this have on our bodies and immune system? Fluoride is a poisonous waste product of aluminium smelting, and it's deliberately put into our drinking water and toothpaste, all in the name of healthy teeth. Aspartame, the sugar alternative, rots holes in rats' brains. The smart grid is being sold to us as a means to use the world's resources in a more sustainable way. But this is a conspiracy at work again. They, the Illuminati, are using the love we have for our home against us. But we need to understand there is another agenda, and that is to first depopulate and then dominate. The tools are microchips. Companies worldwide have registered trillions of IP addresses, which is strange as there are only 7 billion people on Earth. Every product, pet and human being will have its own unique IP address. This is made possible with the invention of the RFID radio frequency identification chip, which is the same technology used by supermarkets to secure their products. CCTV infrastructure has spiraled out of control. Currently there is one CCTV camera for every 13 people in the UK. These cameras use sophisticated computer algorithms which track behavior and bring them to the attention of an operator when protocol is breached. This is only the beginning of the awakening. Welcome to the tip of the iceberg.
With UN takeover of the world. All of those conspiracies have now been laid to rest. There's nothing conspiratorial about it. It's all published.
Go ahead and do it. You know, that living supposedly sustainably, downtown in a condo above a store is bad. It's not bad. If you want to do that, go ahead and do it.
Right.
But the thing is that if you're asking me to use my property tax dollars for the next 30 to 45 years to pay a private developer to do it, then I say that is wrong. And the reason that they're doing it like that is because the plan is to move people out of the rural and suburban areas and move them into the center of cities.
One world government. One world cashless currency. One world central bank. One world military. The end of national sovereignty. The end of all privately owned property. The end of the family unit. Depopulation. Control of population growth and population density. Mandatory multiple vaccines. Universal basic income. Microchipped society for purchasing, travel, tracking and controlling implementation of a world social credit system. Trillions of appliances hooked into the 5G monitoring system. Government-raised children. Government-owned and controlled schools, colleges, universities. The end of private transportation, owning cars, etc. All businesses owned by government corporations. The restriction of non-essential air travel. Human beings concentrated into human settlement zones, cities. The end of irrigation. The end of private farms and grazing livestock. The end of single-family homes. Restricted land use that serves human needs. The ban of natural non-synthetic drugs and naturopathic medicine. The end of fossil fuels. The Lucis Trust is dedicated to the establishment of a new and better way of life for everyone in the world based on the fulfillment of the divine plan for humanity. History. A publishing company, initially named Lucifer Publishing Company, was established by Alice and Foster Bailey in the state of New Jersey, USA, in May 1922, to publish the book Initiation Human and Solar. The ancient myth of Lucifer refers to the angel who brought light to the world. Lucis Trust is a powerful institution that enjoys consultative status with the United Nations. The Fabian Society is a British socialist organization whose purpose is to advance the principles of social democracy and democratic socialism via gradualist and reformist effort in democracies, rather than by revolutionary overthrow. Their symbol is a wolf in sheep's clothing, Matthew 7:15. Beware of false prophets, who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves. Woe to you, earth and sea, for the devil has come down to you in great fury, for he knows he has but a short time. Rev 12. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 666. The barcode is the primitive version of the worldwide system that Jesus Christ predicted would revolve around the number of the beast. As you will see, the base of almost every single barcode in all the world revolving around the purchase of goods is 666. Revelation 13:16. James Version. Nigh causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads. And that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast, or the number of its name. Apple I. One of the 7 laws specifically states the worship of idols is blasphemy, and in the coming age, what is the punishment for calling Jesus Messiah? Equals decapitation. The Talmud lists the punishment for blaspheming the ineffable name of God as death. The sons of Noah are to be executed by decapitation for most crimes, considered one of the lightest capital punishments, by stoning if he has intercourse with a Jewish betrothed woman, or by strangulation if the Jewish woman has completed the marriage ceremonies, but had not yet consummated the marriage. Revelation 20:4. And I saw thrones and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that had been beheaded for the witness of Jesus.
From lucistrust.org. It should be remembered at this point that the men and women of good will belong to all the groups outlined above. And that herein lies their strength and herein lies their usefulness to the new group of world servers. The strength of the new group of world servers lies in 3 factors. 1. They occupy a midway position between the masses of men and the intersubjective world government. 2. They draw their membership from all classes, the aristocracy, the intelligentsia, the bourgeoisie, higher and lower, and the upper layer of the proletariat. They are therefore truly representative. From Revelation. Under the 6th trumpet judgment, John sees 4 angels released from the Euphrates River. Their release coincides with a horde of 200 million demonic mounted troops that kill 1/3 of mankind. However, the survivors refuse to abandon their idolatry and to repent of their evil deeds. Once again, also from lucistrust.org. 2/3 of humanity will stand upon the path at the close of this age, and with that, 1/3 will be held over for later unfoldment. A vague suggestion for mass murder. Just like Jesus said, and just as he predicted 2,000 years ago. The Euphrates River, a vital water source in the Middle East, is facing a serious threat of drying up due to climate change, potentially leading to severe consequences for the region's population and ecosystems. Here's a more detailed look at the situation. Climate change impacts, rising temperatures and decreased rainfall in the region, particularly in northeastern Syria, are exacerbating the problem. Water level concerns. The average annual flow of the Euphrates has decreased significantly, and satellite images show a substantial loss of fresh water in the basin. Drought and water scarcity. The Iraqi Ministry of Water Resources has warned that the Euphrates could dry out completely by 2040 due to climate change and droughts. A story from the Gospel of Mark. The chief priests, the teachers of the law and the elders looked for a way to arrest him because they knew he had spoken the parable against them. But they were afraid of the crowd, so they left him and went away. After they sent some of the Pharisees and Herodians to Jesus to catch him in his words. They came to him and said, "Teacher, we know that you are a man of integrity. You aren't swayed by others, because you pay no attention to who they are, but you teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. Is it right to pay the imperial tax to Rome or not?" Jesus knew their hypocrisy. "Why are you trying to trap me?" he asked. "Bring me a denarius and let me look at it." They brought the coin, and he asked them, "Whose image is this? And whose inscription?" "Caesar's," they replied. This violated the second commandment. "You shall not make yourselves a carved image." Then Jesus said to them, "Give back to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's. The denarius made in the image of Caesar is owed to Caesar. You being made in the image of God, need to give yourself to God. For then there shall be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world until now, and never to be equaled again." The Tower of Babel. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As people moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone, and tar for mortar. For then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city, with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves. Otherwise we will be scattered over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower the people were building. The Lord said, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. As you can see, the New Age is not a movement that evolves humanity or carries it into a new futuristic system. What it's actually doing is bringing us back into the past.